So today being Human Rights Day in South Africa, public holiday as well. Saturday normally sees Johannesburg's night spots buzzing by this time, but since President Cyril Ramaphosa's banning of any alcohol sales after a certain time and calls for social distancing, these places have been almost deserted. SABC reporter Hasina Gori has been doing go around to various night spots. She joins us now from I Vilakazi Street in Soweto. So this is normally a very popular spot on a Saturday. Hasina, what are your observations?
Yes, certainly. Usually a Saturday night here, it's pouring with people. You can't really find a spot to park your car, let alone a table to sit at. But tonight, while the music and the vibe might be here, the people, not that much. Many people have adhered and listened to the calls by the president to social distance, also without the selling of alcohol after 1 p.m. today, as it's a public holiday. Many have decided to stay home. We tried speaking to some people, asking them, the ones that have come out tonight, what prompted them, and many are saying they'd rather be out right now while they can, some fearing that maybe they don't really need to stay home at this point, but most that we've spoken to say that their friends even decided not to come out. So we saw smaller groups here, not the large tables that you would usually see. We know that by the recommendations and the regulations by both the ministries of police and tourism, that even if you're open and you're a restaurant, you're not allowed to sell alcohol after a certain time, but you can't have more than 50 people, including the waitress and staff in the establishment at that time. We see people driving by trying to see whether or not establishments are open. There are few open, just scattered here on the street. Most have closed up for the evening. We know that if you're an establishment that only sells alcohol, today you had to close by 1 p.m. on a normal Monday to Saturday. It will be from 9 to just 6 p.m. We tried even chatting with some of the owners of the business, and some of them are concerned and looking at alternatives to keep their business afloat at this time, trying to find ways to make takeouts available or dining out more popular right now, as the call for social distancing is called for more.
I mean, one can't help but notice, Hasina, especially as you're standing behind Saki's restaurant, Sakumzi, and the branding very clearly that of a very popular alcohol beverage that is fully displayed there. So one then asks themselves, especially this particular establishment, very well known for socializing. We can see there behind you 2 or 3, 4 people. How has that worked out in terms of controlling those numbers? How did they determine, the shift, the roll call, so to speak, who gets to hang around there today?
Yes, this popular night spot tonight, there's not even a crowd waiting to get in as it might be on a normal Saturday. So not really a chance right now of, picking who comes in and who stays out. Most of the tables, it's smaller groups of 2 to 4, many not coming out, adhering to that call. As you said, the branding, and you can hear the music from there. It's still a vibe, but the people aren't here tonight.
Okay, so let's talk about the residents of Soweto themselves, where you are. Obviously, we're talking about mixed, should we say, economic wealth or strata. What are people saying? How are they coping with observing the hygiene aspects of this?
So what we've seen here this evening, even just here on Vilakazi Street, people are actually wearing masks. We've seen people having disinfection. Some of these establishments, before people are coming in, they are sanitizing as well. So I think people are listening and trying to implement them in ways that they can, and really trying to bring that hygiene aspect here as well. As you said, mixed economics. We know that some places here, there's no running water. We've seen the ministry saying that they're going to bring out, portable water systems as well. But for many here, as as we've seen, coming out here, speaking to us, it is the same kind of questions most South Africans are asking is, how do we stop this? How do we as people play our part here? And how serious is it?
Obviously, as a community, not only globally but in South Africa as well, we're asking ourselves this question: how long will this last? How long will this continue to impact our lives? Are people in Soweto also having those, ruminations over how long is this going to be our life?
Yes, speaking to the owners of some of these establishments, some of them asking how long, what impact would it have on our businesses, what impact would it have on waiters. We heard similarly, even in Melville, speaking to some of the owners, is how is it going to impact, not just my bottom line, but my family, but also those that I employ, maybe their families, customers that we've spoken to. We spoke earlier about how people that enjoy socializing and it's part of their life, how do they adapt now? And many people right now in South Africa asking those same questions and trying to figure out how do we change our life right now, because right now we know that it might just be 2 weeks for now with schools being suspended or closed for that time, but how much longer would it be, and what impact is that going to have long term, both financially, economically, as well as emotionally on people as they change their behavior, but also change their day-to-day life.
All right, thank you so much, Hasina. We will be speaking to Hasina Gori later on as she moves on to yet another popular nightclub in Johannesburg, night spot rather, in Johannesburg, to see if people are adhering to those disaster management regulations. So we continue with the first COVID-19 case in the Eastern Cape that's been recorded. The number countrywide now has risen to 240. This is 38 up from Friday. The majority of the new cases have a travel history to Europe. Meanwhile, more than 1,000 people have been screened in the Free State. This follows 7 confirmed cases in the province, 5 of whom are international tourists who attended a church service. The search is on for scores of worshippers who were in contact with them.
In the deadly COVID-19, many have heeded the